Super Yeti Smash is arguably the best attack strategy in Clash of Clans, regardless of the game mode. So let's break down the army and how it works while giving you a full example to help you 3-star with this strategy. Now this army is broken up into 3 parts: the Warden Walk funnel, the Siege Barracks funnel, and the Super Yeti Smash. On screen is a visual representation of the troops, spells, and heroes needed for each part of this attack strategy. But consider using my creator code CorruptYT to support me and the channel. First things first, we have the Warden Walk funnel. In this case, we do not have the Fireball Rage Gem combo, but rather the Eternal Tome and Rage Gem. This allows the Warden to do plenty of damage while funneling and still enabling him to be used as a support later on. In this case, focus on using healers with him to keep him alive as you take on different defenses or enemy heroes. Keep in mind that the healers are also getting buffed from the Rage Gem, so they have a much higher healing output. Having 2 furnaces as well will support his funnel with the damage over time effect while also providing a bit of distraction. You can also use different spells during his funneling to keep him alive, such as the Rage spell to boost his damage and the healer's healing to keep him alive. You can also use a skeleton spell to distract heavy hitting defenses, or even an invisibility spell to prevent defenses from targeting him. This overall will let your Warden cut out a corner of the base to allow your push to dive into the core. Once a funnel is set, you can pull the Warden to support your army with the Archer Queen or Super Yetis, but you need to cut off the funnel before you do so. Speaking of which, the Siege Barracks can also be used to cut off the funnel for your Super Yetis while clearing out defenses with the CC Super Hogs and Royal Champion. Usually I recommend using this while the Warden is clearing out one side. Using a furnace along with the Siege Barracks can help with its damage over time and distraction to help set up funneling for your main push. You can also use one Super Wall Breaker to open walls for your Siege Barrack troops if you need better funneling, and even using an Ice Golem can work in tanking and freezing defenses while they funnel. However, once it pops, you have the Super Hogs, where you always want your Royal Champion to be sent in with them while they tank for your Royal Champion. Any invisibility spells and skeleton spells can be used with her to help clear out defenses while protecting herself and or the Super Hogs while she moves around the flanks of the base. Keep in mind, you do want to use the Rocket Spear from a distance to allow her to snipe off buildings towards the back end to lessen the amount of damage that is on the base. Now that you have the funnel set from the Warden Walk and the Siege Barracks, you can send in your Super Yetis, heroes, and other support troops in to smash through the base. If there are multiple closed-off compartments, using Super Wall Breakers can help move your troops into the base, but you may want to just use the jump spell if you can open directly into the base. This is where you can then push in your Super Yetis with a rage spell to keep everything moving while doing a ton of damage. You may also want to use the Warden's Eternal Tome around the core of the base to keep your units alive and prevent too many Electromites from spawning. Within the core, having the Barbarian King and Archer Queen abilities will help you move deeper into the base while opening walls and spawning an additional tank and DPS units. This also allows you to use another rage spell to boost the power of those heroes and the Super Yetis along with their Electromites for even more damage. This should allow you to easily push through the base with your Super Yetis, but if you are having trouble with invisibility spell towers, a neat trick is to use one invisibility spell and one skeleton spell to activate it. Now that you understand how this army works, this is the army comp I recommend you use to 3-star nearly every base between Town Hall 15 and Town Hall 17. However, you also have options in equipment if you do not have many available to you. With that said, let's give you a visual example to how this army all works so you never fail with it. Overall, we're going to be starting off with a Grand Warden Walk. This is technically just like a mini charge, but we're using furnaces to provide a bit of support while the Warden is clearing out buildings and defenses. We do want to make sure that we are slowly but surely putting in our furnaces so that way they can support the Warden charge itself by clearing out some of the trash buildings and providing a bit of distraction for the actual funnel. On the other side, we're running another furnace in order to set up a bit of funneling early on, since they last for so long, while the Warden can use a rage spell to push him through, keep him healed, and do a lot more damage. Otherwise, on the other side, we can run the Siege Barracks to cut off the funnel with an Ice Golem to provide a little bit of support, since the Ice Golem's freeze is really useful, which will then allow us to establish two sides of our funnel where we can lure the Warden over with the Archer Queen, our Super Yetis, and start moving into the base. Obviously, we do want to use a jump spell to connect directly into the base, where we can then use a rage spell to really push everything in. Even if troops mostly take a detour, we're able to dive into the core with our main push. This is where we can use the Royal Champion and the Super Hogs on the flanks, while the Super Yetis smash through the core. This is where we can also have the Eternal Tome to protect everything, and once we get closer to the back end of the base, we can use that Barbarian King ability to open up a lot of the walls, a rage spell to do even more damage, and any other spells like invisibility to protect our troops, while also using skeleton spells to distract for the Royal Champion. Any other invisibility spells you can also use with the Royal Champion if need be, but you do want to make sure that once you get to a certain point, you use her rocket spears. Overall, this attack is incredibly simple because you're smashing through the base with the Super Yetis, and the Royal Champion on the flanks creates active funneling for you, allowing you to very easily smash through the core and through the rest of the base with your Super Yetis. With how strong Super Yetis were at World Finals, it's no surprise why they dominate bases with the help of the Eternal Tome and healers. However, if you also are looking for what equipment to max out first, check this upgrade guide here, while YouTube says this video is perfect for you.